Hello there.
Back here with Gunfighters. I got Jay and I got Brian with me, and today we've got your standard Glock 19 Gen 3, and then we got a bunch of the clones on the market. We're going to be figuring out how these run in comparison to the OG Glock. What are some of the benefits and downsides of them? We're going to talk you through that one at a time. Let's get into it.
We have the PSA Dagger, the Zero Delta, which is a really interesting aluminum frame Glock clone. We have the Shadow Systems XR920. We have the ARex Gen 3 Glock clone. We have the Zev O9, and we have the Faxon as well.
And these clones range anywhere from as low as $300 up to $1,500, depending on what you're getting yourself into. And we're just gonna break them down, see what we can figure out about them.
All right, we're gonna shoot some 5-round groups over here on paper. Let's see how they run. All right, first up we have the cheapest, which is the PSA Dagger. It comes with metal 3-dot sights, front sight serrations. The feel of the gun does feel a bit weird, definitely different than a standard Glock 19 because it's very fat down here and then it's got this little hump.
For a cheap gun, I do like this thing. As Brian said, that hinge trigger, very much like the Smith & Wessons. I have seen these run full auto, so it is capable of not falling apart under full auto fire, which is kind of nice.
What is nice about the Dagger is for the price point, these go as low as 300 bucks. I think I've seen them on Palmetto for $450. You get 10 mags with it. It takes Glock mags, and it'll come optics cut. It'll have a threaded barrel and suppressor height or tritium sight sometimes, depending on the offering it's in, with a lot of customization available.
Let's see how well I can group it with 5 rounds.
Slide lock back.
All in all, not too bad for a 5-round group at 10 yards. The trigger feels a little bit better than a stock Glock trigger. It's a lot like the older generation of the hinge trigger from Smith & Wesson.
The recoil impulse feels a little different than a stock 19, I'll give it that. Probably due to the grip angle and just the way this thing's designed.
Runs pretty well, the ergos aren't terrible. The sights don't give you a lot, but for a defensive sight, it's really not that bad.
The barrel is crowned much like just a regular Glock 19. Slide is kind of reminiscent of, you know, a lot of the other Glock clones. It feels good. Mag release is a little bit something to be desired.
You feel like you get what you're paying for a little bit, but I mean, for $300, like, that'd be hard to beat.
We're also going to be running some aluminum case, some crappy ammo through these guns too, just to see if they function properly. So let's, already jammed, trying to go in, so we'll see how it goes.
No issues, lock back, felt good. Dagger, not so bad.
Next up, we've got the Zero Delta. This is all aluminum.
It does have a nice weight to it, so that should help in a little bit of recoil mitigation.
One of the cool things about this is out of the box, you can order this from these guys and it has everything. It's got 2 different slide lengths, a couple different barrels. You can do different mag wells. You can do different back straps on it. There's a whole bunch that it comes with. You're paying for that for sure. They're all optics cut as well.
Blacked out sights, both front and rear. Front sight serrations on all of them. And it comes with 1 RMR plate. Let's see how she shoots.
We'll see.
Way low.
Decent group, I pulled one up, that's me.
Definitely a little low from the factory. You're gonna have to do more of a 12 o'clock hold with these sights, it seems, but if you put a red dot on it, it really wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, the recoil impulse was nice. I will give it that. The little palm swell here is good. Feels good in the hand. We'll run some aluminum, see if it's good.
Really easy to lose these sights under recoil being black on black like that. Well, it doesn't seem to mind the aluminum case ammo.
All right guys, I'm gonna try the FX19 from Faxon, see how it runs. I'm gonna shoot a group on this target here. I do like the weight of this thing. They did, you know, reduce a lot of the mass with their slide cuts.
Has really aggressive front sight serrations, some lightning cuts, has suppressor height sights with the white front that's tritium and a blacked out rear. optics compatible, also comes with a flared mag well, which is nice.
I'm a big fan of Faxon. I have not shot their pistols before. I love the barrels that they offer. So this one comes in right above, if I remember correctly, a standard Glock, but for that you do get the optics cut and a threaded barrel and some cool fluting going on here. It's not a traditional flute or the dimpling like they had on the Zev, but kind of a flame fluting look to it.
Bad.
Not a bad grip. The recoil impulse is nice. Full pick rail, I do like that. The trigger is very nice. It reminds me of some of the other aftermarket Glock triggers that are very similar.
I like the trigger on this one. It's got a pretty solid reset, not a lot of travel.
Pretty smooth shooting gun. Let's see if it'll run aluminum. Runs it just fine. I really like this flat face trigger. Really, really smooth. Nice crisp break. Nice positive reset, and you're right back on the wall. I really, really dig that. Has a more of a poly 80 style frame. Nice, really vertical grip angle. It's a really comfortable Glock.
All right, Zev O9. I'm not sure how I feel about how thin the bottom of this trigger guard is. I know a lot of people cut them, you know, on a stock Glock, and it does get a little thin if you're gonna undercut this. Could be a deal breaker, might not be. You have a nice textured kind of sloped magazine release, which is kind of nice. It's not ambi, it's probably reversible at least, like you can on any stock Glock.
It comes with a fiber optic red front, a blacked out rear. It's optics compatible, and a lot like the 320 has an internal chassis system, so you can buy different grip modules and swap them out. Comes with a flared mag well, which I really like. Really sticks your grip into the gun. Very pointable. Also has this nice texturing on the side to really get your hand into, or your thumb.
The stippling on the grip's real pretty. The serrations going all around the slide and the frame. Pretty cool. We got this cool little dimple texture going in the barrel there. Kind of a neat alternative to fluting.
I do like the fiber optic red front.
A little low. Not bad. I really like the trigger. This flat face trigger is really nice, really smooth.
Trigger's very responsive on the reset. I do like how tactile it is. The recoil impulse is really nice, even though this isn't ported at all or anything like that. I mean, it feels basically the same, maybe if not a little heavier than a stock Glock. Let's run some aluminum case and see how it does. Felt really good. This is this button dimpled barrel, which I didn't notice at first. Is pretty cool. Feels pretty good. Moving on.
Next up, we have the ARex, which is a relatively new company out of Slovenia. Very interesting design, their take on the Gen 3 clone. Very thin grip with a more vertical, almost like a 1911 style grip.
And you do get a little bit higher up in here like you would if you grip shopped a 19, but it's because you have this angle that comes in on the trigger guard, kind of helps with the axis.
It's got front sight serrations, which are really textured. Has a single dot front sight and a blacked out rear. It's optics compatible. Has a bit of a funky look on the trigger.
They came onto the scene real strong with their 226 clone. A lot of people really like that. It was a really good price point clone. It gives the vibes of kind of a blend between a Glock and a Canic to me, almost a little bit. I did not love the recoil on that. The trigger's not bad. It's got a decent reset, but compared to some of those other ones we were doing, the recoil on that was actually pretty difficult to like get back on. Not crazy, and we're just shooting 9mm, but it snaps. It's got a pretty severe up and to the right compared to some of those with the really flat shooting on those higher end pistols.
The trigger feels really funky. It's hard to describe. So there's a lot of mush, and then the break isn't very crisp, and you don't get too good of a reset, and the overall shape of the trigger really throws me off a little bit. I'm more used to a curved shoe or a standard like flat face like the Shadow systems have.
Not bad. Reset is somewhat tactile. Trigger breaks right at about 90 degrees. It doesn't feel like there's too much pre-travel or over-travel. The sights leave a little bit to be desired as far as just having a white, front sight and this notched rear. And you have your indicator here that it is hot. This angular way this magazine release is, it is ambi, which is nice. A lot of these other ones aren't, but it is kind of angular and a little bit weird. It's the same with the slide release. But moving on, we'll see if it runs some aluminum case.
Yep, didn't seem to mind that all too bad. And we know these are low count, round count drills, but we're just getting an overall feeling of the guns and giving you guys our initial impressions of them.
Next up, we got the Shadow Systems XR920. Shadow Systems does this a lot. Fluted barrels on all of them. It's got that sweet, beyond burnt bronze, it's almost a rose gold kind of look going on with it. It's a really good look. I mean, they're good looking pistols. A lot of their other options, they'll do a lot of slide milling that really showcases that barrel. All in all, you pull it out of the box and it's a slick looking pistol. I like the grip angle, it's comfortable in my hand.
Trinium green front sight, blacked out rear, it's optics compatible, comes with a threaded barrel, has nice front sight serrations, has this nice shelf over here for your thumb so you can really grip into the gun.
This one doesn't have as much of these slide cuts, any, compared to the other Shadow Systems, which could be good or bad. Some of the other ones with a lot of porting and things, and the comps weren't running exactly too well, but I do like this gun. Trigger's good, we'll see. I'm gonna shoot a group on the left side of this right target. That was a pretty tight group. I'd say about 2 inches between top and bottom, maybe 3. Did shoot very accurate. I like these sights. They did function really well. Ergonomics of it are great. I do like the metal mag release with a little bit of ribbed texturing on here. Trigger's great. Takes standard Glock mags. We'll see if it runs some steel.
Feeds it just fine. I missed the target about 3 times, but that's on me.
All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Remember, this is for educational purposes and it's being done by trained professionals in this field. Be sure to comment and subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed what you saw.
And just as a disclaimer, Gunfighters Inc. purchased all these handguns. None of them were donated to us. These are our honest, personal opinions. Jay, you got anything?
Stay tuned for our long form podcast where we go more into depth on all these pistols, these Glock clones. And be sure to like and subscribe.
Go get a holster today. Stay safe out there.